Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Fluent English Mastery. I'm R. Kareem.
And I'm Moon Kareem. It's wonderful to have you with us again.
Today, Moon, we're talking about something that almost every English learner has experienced.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean.
Really? Let me guess. You practice English at home, everything feels fine, and then you meet someone who speaks English,
Exactly.
and they ask you one simple question,
Something like, how are you?
and suddenly,
Your brain shuts down.
your vocabulary disappears.
Your grammar disappears.
Even your own name starts to sound complicated.
Exactly. You think, wait a minute, what is my name in English?
But seriously, this happens to many English learners. You may know hundreds or even thousands of English words. You may understand English videos. You may read articles. You may practice grammar every day. But when someone suddenly asks you a question in English, you freeze.
And then you start thinking, why can I understand English when I'm alone, but I can't speak when someone is looking at me?
That's the big question we're going to answer today. The title of today's episode is Why Your Brain Forgets English Under Pressure and How to Fix It Permanently.
And before we continue, I want every English learner listening right now to understand one thing. If you forget English when you're nervous, you are not stupid.
Exactly.
You are not lazy.
You are not necessarily bad at English.
And your English has not magically disappeared.
Your brain simply has difficulty accessing the English you already know when you are under pressure. And the good news is that this is a skill you can train. So today, Moon and I are going to explain why it happens and give you practical exercises you can use every day.
And please, don't just listen. Speak with us. Repeat our sentences. Answer our questions. Imagine you're actually having a conversation with us.
Exactly. Let's turn this podcast into a speaking practice session. Ready, Moon?
Absolutely.
Let's begin. Moon, let me ask you something. What is the English word for a good chance to do something?
Opportunity.
Easy, right?
Very easy.
Okay. Now imagine you're having a real conversation. Someone asks, "What opportunities have you had recently?" What happens?
Well, if I'm nervous, I might suddenly think, opportunity, opportunity. What was that word again?
Exactly. And that seems strange because you clearly knew the word a moment ago.
So did I actually forget it?
Not necessarily. There's an important difference between recognizing a word and retrieving a word.
Explain that simply.
Sure. Imagine you're watching an English video and hear the word opportunity. You think, "Oh yes, I know that word." That's recognition. But if I suddenly ask you, "Tell me about an opportunity you had recently," now you have to find the word yourself and produce it. That's retrieval.
So understanding a word when someone else says it is different from producing that word yourself.
Exactly. And speaking requires very fast retrieval.
That explains a lot. Sometimes I hear a word and immediately understand it. But when I want to use it myself, it feels like the word is hiding somewhere.
And you're standing there thinking, "Come out. I know you're in there."
Where are you, vocabulary?
So if that happens to you, don't say, "My English is terrible." Say, "I need more retrieval practice." That is a much more useful way of thinking.
Okay, R. Karim, I understand retrieval. But why does pressure make it so much harder?
Because when you become nervous, you start paying attention to too many things at once. Imagine you're speaking with a native English speaker. They ask, "What do you do for a living?" You know the answer. But suddenly your brain starts asking, "Is my grammar correct? Is my pronunciation okay? Did I use the right tense? What if I make a mistake? What if they laugh? What if they think my English is bad?"
Oh no.
Exactly. You're no longer focused only on communicating. You're trying to communicate and judge yourself at the same time.
That's exhausting.
It is. And perfectionism makes it worse. You try to construct a perfect sentence before you speak.
So instead of saying what I want to say, I'm thinking about how perfectly I can say it.
Exactly. And that can slow you down. Real communication doesn't require perfect sentences.
Native speakers make mistakes too.
Of course, they pause. They restart sentences. They forget words. They say, let me think. They say, what's the word? They correct themselves.
So why do English learners think they have to sound perfect?
Because many learners believe fluency means perfection, but it doesn't. Fluency means being able to keep communicating.
I think another problem is translation.
Absolutely. Many learners think in this order: idea to native language, to translation, to grammar check, to English sentence, to speaking.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It is. And imagine trying to do all of that while someone is waiting for your answer.
That would make me nervous too.
This is why we want to learn chunks.
Chunks?
Yes, groups of words that your brain can retrieve together. For example, to be honest,
To be honest,
as far as I know,
as far as I know,
I'm not sure, but
I'm not sure, but
the thing is,
the thing is,
in my opinion, these phrases give your brain a starting point. Instead of creating the beginning of every sentence from zero, you already have a familiar structure.
So instead of learning only the word decision, I should learn make a decision.
Exactly. Instead of only learning experience, learn gain experience. Instead of only learning interested, learn I'm interested in. Instead of only learning opportunity, learn I had an opportunity to.
That makes speaking much more practical.
And much more automatic. Now, Moon, let's give our listeners a challenge.
I like challenges.
I'm going to ask you a question. You have only 3 seconds to start answering.
Only 3?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it.
What did you do yesterday?
3 seconds?
3, 2, 1.
Yesterday, I went to work. After work, I came home, had dinner, and watched a little television.
Excellent.
That was easy.
Exactly. Now you try.
Okay, listeners, here's your question. What do you usually do in the evening? 3, 2, 1, go. Maybe you said, I usually relax at home. Sometimes I watch YouTube, read a book, or practice English.
Excellent. Notice that we didn't ask you to produce a perfect answer. We ask you to start speaking quickly.
That's important.
Very important. If you always give yourself 20 seconds to prepare, your brain can become dependent on that preparation time. But if you regularly practice responding within 3 seconds, your retrieval speed can improve.
So we're training the brain to say, don't panic, start talking.
Exactly.
But some learners might say, I hate pressure. Why would I intentionally practice under pressure?
Because we don't want huge pressure. We want small, controlled pressure. Start with a 30-second timer. Choose a simple topic. For example, my morning routine. Start the timer. Speak for 30 seconds. Don't stop.
Even if I make mistakes?
Especially if you make mistakes.
What if I forget a word?
Describe it.
What if my grammar is wrong?
Keep going.
What if I suddenly have nothing to say?
Say something simple. For example, I'm thinking about what to say next.
That's actually useful.
Absolutely. Then increase the challenge. 30 seconds becomes 1 minute. 1 minute becomes 2 minutes. Eventually, you can speak for 5 minutes about a familiar topic. This is how you teach your brain to continue functioning when you feel a little pressure.
Let's talk more about translation. because I think it's one of the biggest problems for learners.
I agree. Imagine someone asks, "What are you doing this weekend?" You understand the question, but instead of thinking directly in English, you think in your native language first. Then you translate.
And by the time I finish translating, the person might think I'm ignoring them.
Exactly.
That's embarrassing.
So we need to create more direct connections between experiences and English. For example, when you're tired, think, "I'm tired." When you're hungry, "I'm hungry." When you're opening a door, "I'm opening the door." When you're getting ready to leave, "I'm getting ready to leave."
So I'm connecting real-life experiences directly to English.
Exactly. Instead of experience to native language to English, we gradually build experience to English.
That takes practice, though.
Absolutely. Don't expect yourself to stop translating completely tomorrow. Just reduce it little by little. Moon, imagine you're going to a job interview in English. You're nervous. What would help?
Maybe preparing a few sentences before the interview.
Exactly. I call this the safe sentence technique. Prepare a few sentences you know extremely well. For example, "Thank you for giving me this opportunity."
Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
"I'm happy to be here today."
I'm happy to be here today.
"I'm always willing to learn."
I'm always willing to learn.
And perhaps, "Could you please repeat the question?"
That one is very useful.
Definitely. And you can also learn bridge phrases. That's an interesting question. Let me think about that for a moment. If I understand your question correctly, what I would say is,
These phrases give you time.
exactly. And asking for a moment to think doesn't mean you are bad at English. It means you are having a normal conversation.
Okay, here's the situation every English learner fears. You know exactly what you want to say, but you forget one word. What should you do?
Let's demonstrate. Suppose I want to say, "I need to buy a screwdriver," but I forget screwdriver.
Oh no, the screwdriver has disappeared.
Exactly. But I don't freeze. I can say, "I need to buy a tool for turning screws."
And I understand you.
Exactly. Suppose you forget pharmacy. Say, "The place where you buy medicine." Forget receipt. Say, "The paper they give you after you pay."
That's a really important skill.
It's one of the most important skills for real communication. Fluency doesn't mean I never forget a word. It means when I forget a word, I know how to keep going.
That changes the whole idea of fluency.
It does.
Now let's talk about repetition. Some learners hate repetition. They think, I already practiced this sentence yesterday.
But repetition is exactly what helps language become automatic. Let's practice a sentence together. "I'm not sure, but I think you're right."
I'm not sure, but I think you're right.
Again,
I'm not sure, but I think you're right.
now change it. "I'm not sure, but I think we should wait."
I'm not sure, but I think we should wait.
Again, "I'm not sure, but I think it's a good idea."
I'm not sure, but I think it's a good idea.
Excellent. You are learning a pattern. "I'm not sure, but I think." Once that structure becomes familiar, you can use it with many different ideas.
So we aren't simply memorizing one sentence. We're building a reusable language pattern.
Exactly.
Another technique I really like is shadowing.
Yes, shadowing is when you listen to English and repeat almost immediately. You try to follow the speaker's rhythm, pronunciation, pauses, and connected speech. For example, listen. "I was thinking about going out tonight." Now repeat.
I was thinking about going out tonight.
Again.
I was thinking about going out tonight.
Good. Don't worry about being perfect. Focus on rhythm. Focus on the way the words flow together.
So, shadowing helps train listening and speaking at the same time.
Exactly. And it can be particularly useful for learners who understand English but struggle to speak naturally.
Kareem. If someone listening says, "Okay, I understand all of this, but what should I actually do every day?"
Excellent question. Here is a simple 30-minute routine. 5 minutes. Listen. Listen to English. Don't worry about understanding every single word. Focus on the meaning. 5 minutes. Shadow. Choose a short section and repeat it. Copy the rhythm. 10 minutes. Speak. Ask yourself questions and answer them. Don't translate. Don't stop every time you make a mistake. 10 minutes. Retell. Listen to a short story or conversation. Then close it. Now explain what happened using your own words.
That last step sounds difficult.
It can be, but that's exactly why it's valuable. You're forcing your brain to retrieve language.
And retrieval is the skill we're trying to strengthen.
Exactly.
Let's say I'm in a real conversation. Someone asks me something. My brain goes completely blank. What should I do?
First, breathe. Second, slow down. Third, use a bridge phrase. For example, "That's a good question." Then think. Or, "Let me think about that for a moment." Then answer.
So I don't have to answer instantly.
Correct. A short pause is perfectly normal.
Sometimes learners think that if they pause, everyone will think their English is terrible.
Exactly. But native speakers pause too. They think. They search for words. They change sentences. They correct themselves.
So we need to stop expecting ourselves to sound like a computer.
Yes, you're having a conversation, not giving a speech generated by a machine.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't just listen to it once. Come back and listen again. Pause the episode. Repeat our sentences. Answer our questions. And speak out loud. And remember, you don't need
Perfect English to start speaking confidently. You need practice using the English you already have.
And if you make a mistake?
Keep going.
If you forget a word?
Describe it.
If you get nervous?
Take a breath and continue.
If you don't understand someone?
Ask them to repeat it.
And if your brain says, "I can't speak English,"
Tell your brain, "Maybe not perfectly yet, but I can keep communicating."
I love that.
And now we have one final question for everyone listening.
Yes, tell us in the comments. What happens to your English when you feel nervous? Do you forget vocabulary? Do you worry about grammar? Do you translate in your head? Or do you suddenly become very quiet?
Share your experience in the comments. Your story may help another English learner realize, "I'm not the only one."
And if this podcast helped you today, subscribe to Fluent English Mastery for more practical English listening and speaking practice.
Keep listening.
Keep speaking.
Keep practicing.
And don't be afraid of mistakes.
Because every mistake is another opportunity to learn.
And every conversation is another opportunity to become more confident.
I'm Kareem.
And I'm Moon Kareem.
And this is Fluent English Mastery.
And this is Fluent English Mastery.
We'll see you in the next episode.
Until then,
Keep practicing, keep speaking, and keep moving forward.
keep practicing, keep speaking, and keep moving forward.